What do you understand by rule of law? This is one of the important principle in the polity. We often discuss about rule of law. In simple term, in the simple meaning of rule of law is that everything must be done according to law and no one is above the law. Whether it is government, prime minister, or an ordinary citizen, no one is above the law. Everyone should be treated equally, and they all are bounded by the same law. No discrimination between them. This concept was proposed by British scholar A.V. Dicey. According to A.V. Dicey, rule of law contain three principles. These are the main principles on which rule of law exists. First is the supremacy of law. What do we understand by supremacy of law? No arbitrary power. It restricts government from excessive use of power against citizen. Government action cannot deny citizen the fundamental rights or the basic rights. For example, if government violates the fundamental rights of the citizen can directly approach to the Supreme Court under Article 32. Person can directly go to the Supreme Court. Here comes the protection of supremacy of law. In, in same way, police cannot arrest anyone without following a legal procedure. However, there exist some exceptions. Like during national emergency, some of the fundamental rights are suspended, like Article 19, right to freedom. Other example of exception are MPs and MLAs enjoy special privilege in the parliament and state legislature, but this exception did not harm supremacy of law or compromise the supremacy of law in any way. Second principle is the equality before law. What do we understand by equality before law? All persons are equal in the eyes of law and no one is above the law. Whether it is ordinary citizen or the president or the prime minister, no discrimination on the basis of wealth, position, everyone should be treated equally. Every office should be open for the person. If that office is open for the president, the same office will open for the ordinary citizen. Equality before law in Indian Constitution is guaranteed under Article 14. However, there exist some exceptions to it. Equality before law doesn't mean that the same treatment to everyone in every situation. No, it follows a reasonable classification. It's talk about positive discrimination. One the third Constitutional Amendment Act gives reservation to the economically weaker section in the education institution by inserting Article 15 subclause 6. Establishment of National Commission for Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe. under Article 338 and under Article 338A respectively. This is to ensure the justice to the underrepresented section. So equality before law doesn't mean the same treatment to everyone in the same situation. No, it is based on the affirmative action. So what do we understand by predominance of legal spirit? Rights of a citizen or a person is protected by judiciary. The rights are not merely written in the constitution, but the rights itself are protected by the court, Supreme Court, High Court, which Supreme Court is the guardian of the fundamental rights of citizen. We have already seen how rule of law's three principles and what are the articles given in the Indian Constitution. Like Article 14 guarantee equality before law. Judicial review protects the constitutional supremacy under Article 13. We talk first principle of rule of law is the supremacy of law, the constitutional supremacy. That means restricting the state from arbitrary uses of power against the citizens. That is ensured through judicial review. However, rule of law is a part of basic structure of the constitution which make it even stronger, because in the Keshwananda Bharti case and again in the Manika Gandhi case, it is affirmed that basic structure of the constitution cannot be abridged by the parliament. Parliament cannot make any changes to the basic structure of the constitution, as it is the core foundation of the Indian constitution, it's the backbone. So rule of law is included under the basic structure principle of the constitution. So government cannot abridge the rule of law, cannot make any changes to the provision related to which ensure the rule of law, like Article 14, Article 15, Clause 4, Article 16. So what are the importance of rule of law? Why it is mentioned? Why there are provisions that ensure rule of law? Because it protects fundamental rights and liberty. We have seen Article 14, Article 21, Article 16, which talks about equal opportunities in public employment. So restricts the power of the government, prevent the dictatorship and misuse of power, which is the most important features of rule of law. It ensures accountability, fairness, and justice. Ministers are accountable in the parliament. And at last, it strengthens the public trust. Think like that, अगर रूल ऑफ लॉ सिर्फ एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा हुआ होता और उसको इन्फोर्स करने के लिए कोई मैकेनिज्म नहीं होता, तो क्या पब्लिक उस पर ट्रस्ट करती? ऑफ कोर्स नॉट. सो it ensures the public trust, the provision that makes the rule of law reality, and that lead and because of that public trust has been generated.